Hello, this is Dr. Brian McDonough. I had previously planned that this 200th episode of A Doctor in the Pandemic would be the final installment with the hopes that we had covered just about everything, but clearly with COVID, there still is a need. It's not as great of a need as there has been in the past. We don't have to have repetitious reports over and over again, but there's still a need to bring up important information, and today is an example of that. First, the very sad news, the death of General Colin Powell at the age of 84. He died of COVID complications. His family has released that information. They also released that he was fully vaccinated, which assumed he had at least 2 of the vaccines. The issue with the general brings up a very important point. If you've been vaccinated, you dramatically have protection. For instance, you are 11 times more likely to be hospitalized or die if you're not vaccinated than if you are. So it goes without saying, vaccines provide a tremendous amount of protection, but they're not perfect. We have 187 million people who have been vaccinated in this country, and the best numbers I have seen is there's about 7,000 deaths among those who are vaccinated. So it can happen. Now, when you compare 7,000 to 725,000, it's a small percentage, but if it's you, it's a big percentage. So what puts you at risk? The same things we were talking about before. Pre-existing conditions, being older, they clearly put you at greater risk. In the case of Colin Powell, he had a history of prostate cancer, also was suffering from Parkinson's, and at the time of death was 84 years old. Those things all can contribute. To what extent? We're learning, we don't know, but we know it can make a contribution. So what do you do? Well, the first thing is we continue to expand. We're learning, for instance, the boosters are important because the immunity wanes. We've talked about this before. These vaccines are not designed to go 20 years. They go 6, 8, 10 months. So as time goes on, the protective effect of the vaccine starts to go away. So boosters will be necessary, very similar to the way we treat the flu. Secondly, we need to continue to develop medications which can be given if someone is hospitalized. The monoclonal antibodies, now the pills that have been developed by Merck, but they all have to be given early, and you have to select who would be the people to get them early. Do you just give them to everyone, or do you pick and choose? These are things we are learning. And the third thing, which I think needs to be said and continue to be said, is if you are around people indoors, if you are around older people, do not forget the importance of wearing masks and trying to reduce whatever spread there is in the event you're positive or someone else is, to try to reduce the opportunity of someone getting COVID in the first place. We certainly are far better off than we were, but we still have to worry about that as well. And the final point, it continues to need to be stressed that we need to vaccinate as many people as we can. Now that will be part of the issue, will be getting more education out there and trying to more or less diffuse the misinformation that's out there. And that takes time, and it takes talks like this, and mostly it takes not being political, not being aggressive, and just trying to explain why it's important. But I felt today it was important to explain what happened with General Powell so that essentially people don't say, oh, he was vaccinated, it doesn't work, or the converse, which is, I'm vaccinated, I thought I was 100% protected. The truth is more in the middle, obviously to the side of greater protection if you're vaccinated.